When a major move happens in the offseason, expectations are always high. And in the case of the Detroit Lions, recent news has left fans with a big question. What will happen to the team's defense now that one of the most anticipated names of last season, cornerback Carlton Davis, has decided to follow a new path? After being acquired by the Lions in a trade to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it seemed like Davis would settle in as a key part of Detroit's defense. However, recent updates indicate that he is about to return to the team that drafted him, the Buccaneers, raising fresh concerns about how the Lions will adapt. So what does this mean for the future of the Lions defense? In recent years, the Lions defense has been one of the most lacking areas of the team. The defense has been prone to allowing big plays, especially in the secondary, leaving fans wondering when the unit would finally find consistency. When the 2024 season began, it was clear that the team needed major reinforcement at cornerback, an essential position for any team that hopes to be competitive in the NFL. A defensive backfield riddled with injuries and underperformance has plagued the Lions in the past, leading many to believe that finding the right player at cornerback could be the missing piece. To fill this gap, the Lions didn't hesitate to make a bold move, trading a third-round pick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to bring Carlton Davis to Detroit. At the time, this trade was seen as a fantastic opportunity to improve a defense that had struggled during previous seasons. It was a sign that the team was ready to take the next step and prioritize the defensive side of the ball. Davis, with his imposing physique and solid coverage skills, quickly emerged as one of the top names in the Lions' defense, proving to be an important addition to the roster. His presence was a relief for the team, which had been struggling to find a reliable cornerback who could support the defensive line. A defensive line that, while featuring standout players like Aiden Hutchinson, still needed a strong presence in the secondary to fully complement their efforts. In 2024, despite a season interrupted by injuries, Davis showcased his value. He put up solid numbers, allowing opposing quarterbacks to complete only 55.3% of the passes thrown his way, a stat that placed him among the best in terms of coverage. His ability to shut down top-tier wide receivers and his knack for making critical tackles in open space elevated his reputation as one of the cornerbacks to watch in the league. However, what seemed to be a smooth unfolding story with Carlton Davis in Detroit has now taken a different turn. With his contract expiring, speculation about his future began to swirl, and Davis's response left little room for doubt. He made it clear on social media that he was ready to explore free agency, with a message that indicated he was preparing to move on and test new possibilities. His decision to leave Detroit was a blow to the Lions, who invested heavily in Davis's potential and hoped he would be the cornerstone of their defensive turnaround. It marked a moment of uncertainty for the franchise and left fans wondering what the next steps would be. "I'm not going to make the same mistake twice," Davis wrote in a provocative post. "If you want your defense to improve, you know who to pay. Hit the tape." This statement was received as a clear signal that he was no longer interested in staying with the Lions. While the tone of the message suggested a hint of frustration, it was also a reminder of the reality of the NFL business. Players are constantly navigating their own paths to achieve personal success. What seemed to be a natural move, given his injury that sidelined him for much of the season, has now transformed into confirmation that he won't be part of the Detroit team for the 2025 season. But the big question is, where will he go? The answer to that question came quickly. Davis is reportedly returning to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the team that originally drafted him. Over the past few weeks, rumors started to spread that the Buccaneers were interested in bringing the veteran cornerback back, as he knew their system well and had a strong connection with the team. For the Buccaneers, who have faced their own defensive challenges, the idea of bringing Davis back seemed like an effective solution to strengthen their secondary and regain stability on defense. The Buccaneers' defense had struggled with consistency and giving up big plays in key moments, and Davis's return was seen as a potential boost to help restore the defense to its former glory. It was also seen as a win for the Buccaneers' front office, who had been looking for veteran leadership to help guide their young defensive players. Although this represents a blow to the Lions, who now find themselves in a position of uncertainty, it's also an opportunity for the team to reassess their options. Davis's departure doesn't mean the end of possibilities for the Lions, but the team will certainly need to move strategically to fill that gap on defense. The cornerback free agency class for 2025 isn't the strongest, which makes the task even more difficult. However, the team has some alternatives and may look for other veterans in the market to try to reinforce the position. The Lions could consider signing a more affordable player, or potentially look to the draft for a cornerback prospect who could develop into a long-term solution. The Lions scouting department will have a major role to play in finding the right fit for the defense going forward. Moreover, with key player contracts such as Aiden Hutchinson and Kirby Joseph currently in negotiation, the Detroit Lions have other financial and strategic challenges ahead. These negotiations will consume part of their salary cap, meaning they'll have to be cautious when deciding how to spend their resources in the offseason. Therefore, the need for defensive reinforcements remains a priority, but with budget limitations, competing for a top-tier cornerback like Davis might be harder than expected. The team will need to balance the long-term vision with short-term needs, ensuring that the defense continues to evolve even while juggling salary cap space. It's a delicate tightrope act that will test the franchise's management skills. At this point, Davis's return to the Buccaneers means that the Detroit Lions need to reassess their strategy and available options. The team now knows what they've lost, but they need to focus on how to overcome this loss and continue competing at the highest level. The Lions' defense is undoubtedly still a work in progress, and Davis's return to Tampa Bay is just one of many elements that Detroit fans will need to follow closely this offseason. How the team approaches free agency and the draft will likely determine the course of their defensive future. Fans will be eagerly watching to see if Detroit can find the right pieces to put together a defense that can challenge the NFC's top teams. Now, with less than a week until the start of the NFL's legal tampering period, Carlton Davis's future seems decided, but the future of the Detroit Lions, especially regarding their defense, is still unfolding. As the team works on contract extensions for Hutchinson and Joseph, the cornerback position remains one of the biggest question marks for Detroit's roster. The coming days will be crucial in understanding how the team will position itself in free agency and whether they can fill the gaps left by the departure of a key figure like Carlton Davis. Every decision the Lions make in the coming weeks will be critical in shaping the team's defense for years to come. If you found this scenario interesting and want to know more about the Detroit Lions moves and how the team will adjust for the upcoming season, don't forget to subscribe to Lions News Fan Report for more updates and detailed analysis. Stay on top of every new development and keep up with everything happening with your favorite team.